Repair another one of my masterpieces again, and the next time I'll kill you.
I thought you should know there's been another Carver victim.
The initial response to the Carver was gigantic at the end of season 2.
Was originally, of course, only scheduled for like a one-pop thing, but people liked that character so much and liked that he was sort of both a villain and yet a intellectual force on parallel with our guys.
A serial killer who had a unique pathology tied to plastic surgery was a really interesting thread.
So we decided to run with that story for the whole season.
My theory has always been that a show is only as good as its villain, so every year needs a villain, and that was our villain for this year. He was such a huge force, that character, that you couldn't have every episode be about him.
There were discussions about, how often should the Carver appear? How long should he go into hiding? What is the proper amount of tease that an audience will sustain?
At the end of the day, we're not a crime show, we're a relationship show, and it was very important to keep the emphasis on that, but yet he had to come in dribs and drabs. And every day, even though, we as writers knew where we were going to end up, I don't think we really knew how we were going to get there.
I wanted to formally accept. I'm sorry, accept what? A partnership in McNamara Troy.
I was called by Ryan a year and a half ago, and he says, I want to create this character that is both Sean and Christian, but twisted, and he ultimately is their worst nightmare.
If you share the same scar, you're united as warriors. What do you say, Sean? Are we a tribe?
This character views Sean and Christian as carvers. They are destructive. They are subverting reality. And he's kind of this idealist.
At least I've paid my dues, Doctor. You've always been in it for the money. Or were all those tit jobs your way of giving back to the world?
I was always making a commentary that what he did is really no different from what the worst plastic surgeons do, which is to sort of change something that doesn't need to be fixed.
Why in the hell are you so jumpy?
I'm not jumpy. I'm excited.
There was a great psychology behind what he was doing, which Bruno was incredibly, I think, adept and fascinated at.
This morning I called your commanding officer and informed him who you are. Gay. And a coward.
In every one of his scenes, he as an actor made sure that was always very present, even when the audience couldn't know it. That was sort of his subtext for everything.
I really liked the Quentin character. He just managed to have his finger in every pie that was going on in the show, and he just pushed everything in really diverse ways.
When I hired Bruno at the end of season 2, I told him what was going to happen, and I told him that he was the Carver, and I sort of made him take a blood oath.
Action. Cut. Bruno, your shoulder goes up so high I can't see the stabbing.
Whenever we would do Carver scenes, he would be the person in the Carver outfit, but we basically told the crew, oh no, that's too obvious, we're never going to do that.
How could I be the Carver if I was carved myself?
The truth is there were very few people who actually did know who the identity of the Carver was. The cast members did not know.
I would tell people it was Jolie Richardson, and then I would say it very seriously, and then 2 days later she'd be at my office knocking, we need to talk, am I really the Carver, which I thought was funny. So I sort of would plant false things, which was kind of nasty of me, but I wanted that secret to be held.
It's been hanging over all of us for so many months, and, people nervously looking over their shoulders of, Christ, it's me.
Psychologically speaking, you're no different from the Carver.
I didn't do anything! I thought for a while, you know what? I could very well be the Carver. So, which I didn't know, and I'm relieved that I am not the Carver.
We always wanted it to be left up to the audience, is it a man or is it a woman, and you don't really know, and that always intrigued me. And on our show, we play a lot with gender politics, so I thought it was interesting that you didn't know.
It was really fun to watch everybody on the set grab a new script, because they immediately had to find out what the new clues were and come up with their different theories of what it was that was going on.
Am I under arrest for something?
I think that Ryan Murphy was really smart to have this year, the signature of this year is going to be the Carver. And yet, it didn't dominate all the episodes, but he's always lurking. And he was really smart how he used that, sparingly, and yet it's always there. And also, it gave this season its own kind of world.
It has been a departure, I think, certainly from the first season. second season. I think third season, it's gone down a different road.
It certainly was more violent and darker than it's ever been.
I found out that I was going to be a victim of the Carver, and I do have to say, filming it was very creepy.
I directed that episode, and we used a lot of Dutch angles and a lot of handheld, even played with the speed of the film a little bit. So it tried to mirror the Carver's growing anxieties, and as he accelerated what he was doing, we tried to mirror that photographically as well.
Drop your pants, Quentin.
There's this big shocking moment where it's revealed that Quentin has not a penis. That was a surprise for me, big one. And when I first read it, I thought, oh, there goes my career. But then, after like a fifth of vodka, I thought, it's brilliant.
So if I told you that I was born without a penis, that would have made everything okay, right?
You mean some twink didn't bite it off during a lover's spat?
In the middle of the season, I read about this disease that this character has where, you're born with deformed genitalia. And I decided that sort of pain and rage and having countless plastic surgery operations to fix that would sort of inform your both attraction to become a plastic surgeon and make you completely hate that industry. So that sort of happened around episode 7 of 15, so yeah, we had to go backtrack and fix some things that we had done.
Let's christen the soaking tub.
I was in the middle of shooting the scene where Quentin and Julia were inside a hot tub, and Greer looked at me and said, I think we have a problem. And I was like, what's the matter? The scene's working really well. She says, no, you need to see him get into the water in his shorts. I'm like, okay. And you can't tell me why. She goes, I can't tell you why. I went, okay. And I walked over to Bruno and go, okay, Bruno, I gotta start this shot again, and I need you to actually be getting in, but I need to see your shorts on as you're getting in. And he kind of looked at me like, oh no, I'm afraid of what's coming.
Liz, you don't really think Christian is the Carver, do you?
Everyone has been obsessed with for the last, just over a year. Who is the Carver?
Elizabeth Cruz, you are under arrest for 18 counts for assault and battery, kidnapping, and the murder of Rhea Reynolds.
It was really interesting that it never leaked out, with all the websites, and they were like, who is the Carver, polls and Vegas odds and all that stuff. Nobody ever sort of busted us in that way, which I was sort of shocked by.
So I'm the Carver now.
I wanted that secret to be held, and the fact that it was held, and I think the ratings for that finale were so huge because people were just dying to know the identity of that person.
Tell me what you don't like about yourself.
The Carver was sort of a puppet master in a weird way, that he was sort of a mirror for these guys to look in and see their worst qualities reflected back at them.
In a sense, Ryan's tricked everybody because it's disguised as a whodunit, but it's really a what-done-it. It's really a, let's look at our culture, let's look at our world and see what breeds this. And that's what Nip Tuck is asking, because Nip Tuck is about, in many ways, all the things that we reject, all the things that we don't want to talk about, all the things that we don't confess to. And every season has progressively gotten more into that. What Christian doesn't want to face about himself, what Sean doesn't want to face about himself, what Julie doesn't want to face about herself. That drives the drama, the spectacular drama of Nip Tuck.
To let an actor in on a mystery that's going to go on for 2 years is kind of a difficult thing to do, but a smart thing to do, because if you, the thing about DVDs is people like to watch the whole season and they go back, oh, and I think if you do that, it's very clear in his scenes, stuff that's going to come out. It's planted, you can find it, it's like a treasure hunt, it's back there, go back and look at it. We're aware of what those moments were. He certainly was as an actor.